Hi, I'm Joey. I've been making music for like 8 years, so I think I have some license to say that it's hard. It's not easy. We do it because it's fun, and we do it because it's really special to us, and we feel good about it, and we like to do it, but it's hard. And so, with this video, I wanted to talk about some of those negative experiences and feelings around making music or really being an artist in general so that you can understand and know that you're not alone and that everyone has these feelings and has these struggles too. Because I feel like it's easy to look at, well, we'll get into that. I have some notes here. As you can see, I have taken some lecture notes for us to work with here today. So right now we're on step one, intro dash what plus why parentheses you aren't alone. So I think I expanded upon that pretty well. As you can see, I speak a little more verbosely than I write. And speaking of verbosity here, I am not sure how long this video is going to be. It could be a minute long. It could be an hour long. So me and you are going to go on that journey together. And it's the first video I'm making like this, so we'll see if this is a good format. Okay, one parentheses, writer's block. I struggle with it. I imagine you struggle with it as well. So does this guy. And he's a big star, so I struggle. The first note here says I struggle, just generally, but I guess specifically with writer's block. Okay, guys, the thing about writer's block is here's my big theory and my big thing about writer's block is that writer's block is a consequence of not sitting with negative feelings. I don't remember where I heard this. I may have heard it from Nick Mira. He may have said it at some point in a video about like a beat block, writer's block in the context of making beats. He said, like, I think it may have been him, like, you can always make a bad beat, right? Like, you can always sit down and write a really bad song. So writer's block is not about not being able to write. It's actually a perfectionism thing. It's not that you can't write. It's that you refuse to write. You refuse to write something that is not perfect or that is not as good as the thing in your head that you wish it could be, right? It's a refusal of reality. That's how I feel about writer's block. And lately, me personally, to talk about me, I've been working just in my life. I've been working on sitting with my negative feelings and thoughts. And it has also, I've written a lot this past week. I've written a lot of stuff for songs, and I think that this whole thing about sitting with negative thoughts and feelings, if you sit down and you write a line down and you think it's dumb and cringe and you have thoughts of people laughing at you for writing such a stupid song, if you're anything like me, that's what you have, and you just sit with that and keep writing. Don't erase it. Like, just refuse to erase it and be like, no, I'm going to write this. I'm going to write this down. And even if it scares you or it makes you feel any kind of negative emotion, you just sit with that. And to me, that's the cure to writer's block, is to say, I'm going to write this down however it is and however it comes out. And I don't have to record it. I could just tear this page up after, but I'm going to write it, So you commit to writing even if it's bad. That's my solution to writer's block, and you can pay me $10 million whenever you feel like it for that. So that pretty much covers note number one here, writer's block. Okay, let's go to number two, which is related in the same vein, going on from that. Feeling bad about your work, feeling negatively about your music or your artwork in general. Again, we're going to try and make this general. I struggle with self-esteem issues generally, and with music I struggle with it as well. I often don't feel good about my work, or I feel disappointed with it, like it's not as good as it was in my head. And again, this is coming right off the writer's block stuff, perfectionism. It kind of is all the same theme. Like, I often just feel like, wow, this isn't as good as I could have made it. It just isn't as good as I thought it was going to be, and it's disappointing. That's a really disappointing feeling, I think, to feel that the song's just not as good as it could have been or as you wanted it to be. Let's see here. Yeah, perfectionism, and that's the source of writer's block, I think, is that perfectionism about the work that you're doing. And you got to keep in mind that real artists do in fact ship. So do fake artists, I guess. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe that's not right. Because I guess if you're shipping at all, you're an artist. But at the same time, you shouldn't feel bad about taking your time. If you need to take 5 years to make an album, then that's what you need to take. And if someone else puts out 3 genius albums in that amount of time, um, that doesn't mean that you have to do that, you know? And that actually leads us on to the third thing here, which is comparison. Now, we've all heard that comparison is the thief of all joy, and I do agree that it is, and that you should not compare, but kind of. I agree that you shouldn't compare negatively. You shouldn't sit here and think, I'm not as good as this person is better than me. You know, this person is my age or younger and is more successful and talented than me, which makes me feel really bad. That's a bad feeling, you know. Man, this guy is a couple years younger than me, and people are saying he's genius and he's doing all this crazy work, and I'm not doing it, and that feels bad, you know. And I think the key to this comparison point here is first of all, it's not bad to feel that way. You know, when we say comparison is the thief of all joy, when this guy, shout out to Tomo Fujita Music, don't worry, don't compare, shout out. When we say these things, it doesn't mean it's bad to feel that way. If you feel yourself comparing yourself to other people, you shouldn't like block that out and try to not think that. I think it's about your relationship with that feeling, and I think you can. It's good to let that inspire you. You know, the problem with comparison is if it despires you. I don't know if that's a word. If comparison makes you give up, then it's bad, not good, right? But if it inspires you to work harder and be more creative and maybe be more bold and take more chances and be braver, that's a good thing. So comparison can be good, I think. It's about what is it inspiring you to do? Is it inspiring you or is it despiring you? I like that word that I've just come up with here. Yeah, it's good to be competitive too. That's a note that I have. It says right here, good to be competitive. So you know it's true because I wrote it. So it's definitely true. Yeah, you should let it inspire you. And the other thing I have written down here is we all, I don't know, we all compare ourselves to other musicians or artists, and we all copy. I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Like we all are copying our favorite stuff, aping our favorite stuff, and that's okay. You can compare yourself to whoever you know and copy. You can copy different stuff. That's you know. Oh, this is what I wanted to say. We're all trying to live up to whoever our favorites are, trying to live up to the standards that they have set with their work. So we all compare. You shouldn't feel bad about comparing. That's not what comparison is the default joy means. It doesn't mean you should feel bad about feeling that way. It means you should be aware of how it makes you feel and try to process those feelings in a positive, productive way, I guess is my point. And I'm not a therapist. By the way, just disclaimer, I'm not a therapist. So this is not like psychological advice or whatever. And I just realized I'm recording in the left channel only. That's fine. That doesn't actually matter. How much time? I'm not going to look. Productivity dash always feel lazy. And I do. I often feel lazy. I don't know about always. That's a little dramatic. I don't know who wrote that down. Crazy guy. Yeah, I often feel lazy, unproductive, like I haven't worked hard enough, like I haven't practiced hard enough. And I really struggle with that. You know, I guess I have ADHD. I feel a little weird saying it because, to be honest, it feels like an excuse. You know, like I'm saying, well, I can't do anything, you know. But, you know, it's genetic, it runs in the family, and I do struggle with focus and productivity, and I struggle with that, with getting work done, sitting down and really getting work done. And to me, it really is a similar thing with writer's block where I've been working on sitting with negative feelings, and one of those negative feelings has been I'm bored and I don't want to work on this right now. You know, you can actually, it's hard, especially if you're like me, with the ADHD or whatever, you know, whatever you want to call it. It's hard to sit with that feeling of wanting to do something else and keep working with that feeling, but you can do it. Like I actually kind of have discovered that recently, that you can actually do that. And I think you feel really good after. You know, it's like going to the gym. And that's what I wanted to draw that comparison between practicing and going to the gym, right? It's hard to go to the gym. No one has an easy time going. You know, you look at people that go every day, they weren't always like that. You have to learn how to be like that. I'm not like that, in case you couldn't tell. I don't go to the gym every day. I also don't practice guitar every day. And I wish I did both of those things every day. But it's hard. And if you feel like you don't feel productive and you feel like you're not working as hard as you could be, I want you to know that you're not alone and I'm not alone. And just because you see, some guy or some person, just because you see people that do practice every day that are really good, you shouldn't feel bad, because it's not a competition. You can be competitive. Like I said, it's good to be competitive, but it's not we're not playing a zero sum game here, right? Um, and just because you're not the best instrumentalist or the best singer doesn't mean you can't make a good record. I just listened. I'm doing a thing this year where I'm trying to listen to 1,000 albums. And yesterday I listened to this album called, what is it called? It released on 9/11. It was this really interesting album called, it's by the band The Microphones. It's called, I forget what it's called, but it's this album. I'll put it up on screen. And a lot of the guitar playing is really sloppy. A lot of the singing is off key and sloppy. The recording is kind of blown out, and I loved it. I really liked that record. I thought some parts of it were super, super interesting and cool. You don't have to worry about being a virtuoso. You should try to be one, right? We should all try to be opera singers and astronauts, but we're not always going to be that, and that's okay. It's all about having fun at the end of the day. And the other thing about productivity that I wanted to talk about, this is my biggest note, really. I wanted to talk about organization. I have here want to be a finisher. I have a lot of notes here. I want to talk about organization and finishing projects. I'll be honest, and I hope people can relate to this. A lot of times I open up FL Studio and I kind of mess with a beat for 20 or 30 minutes, and then I save it as like poop fart 37, and then I put it in some random folder and never look at it again. That sucks. And I want to say, if you do that, you're not alone. I hate that. It really makes me feel bad that I work on something for 30 minutes and then essentially throw it away into some disorganized folder. I'm never going to find it again. I'm never going to use those ideas again. I really feel bad about that, and I want to change. That's one of the big things I want to change, like about myself, actually. That's like a pretty big thing to say, but it's true. I want to become a finisher. I want to save my work under a real title, with a number and a way to find it in a folder that makes sense, and then come back to it and finish it. I want to be that way, and I'm going to work on that more. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, get that off my chest here. Okay. Next, number 6. I don't know if I've been saying numbers. This is number 6. Sharing your music with friends and family and the internet. And it's very scary. It can often be very awkward. It can be embarrassing. But you want to do it. It's this really weird paradoxical kind of dissonance where you really want people to hear your stuff, but you're also ashamed of it and you are scared to show them your stuff. And then when you show people your music, it's always very like, you feel like you're their good deed for the day, which is okay. I'm not, I don't think I'm too good to be somebody's good deed every now and then. But it's it feels uncomfortable to be that. To feel like you're, hey, look at me. Hey, pay attention to me for 5 minutes. Look at what I do in my spare time. I don't know what you do. Maybe you are a boxer. But I'm not. I made this record, and I always feel the need to justify or explain why it's not good enough. Like, it's not done yet. I didn't mix it yet. I'm still working on it. This is stupid. I only spent 2 seconds on it anyway, so if you hate it and think I'm an idiot, then that's okay, because it's not even my real song. It's actually way better, but I'm not going to show you that one, though, because it doesn't exist. But yeah, I always feel like I need to justify it, why it's not as good as I want it to be. And that's uncomfortable. That's not fun at all. Oh yeah, and then the other thing I wanted to say in regards to sharing your music with people is it helps you hear it a different way and maybe pick out things about it that you would not have otherwise heard, because when you hear things with other people around you, you're being more critical because you're embarrassed. You're like, wow, I got to make sure, what are they hearing right now? Like, oh, that's a mistake. They heard that, whatever. But also just because I think when you share experiences with other human beings, your mind is different and it hears different things, and overall it's a good thing to do. That being said, um, you shouldn't show people your music too much when it's not done. You should only show people your music really when it's completely and totally finished. Because you want to avoid that whole justification. It's not done yet. I'm not admitting it. But finish it first and then show people. And that's advice that you'll hear a lot about art. Is that if you, I read this. I'm reading this book here. I'm taking a creative writing class this upcoming semester, and I read this. I actually read most of it before the class even started because I'm a nerd. Becoming a Writer by Dorothea Brand with a foreword by John something. Pretty interesting. I would recommend you read it. It's pretty cool. As a musician, this is about writing literature, but as a musician, it's also relatable. And one of the things she says is like, don't if you tell people your story before you've written it, you won't want to write it anymore because your brain will tick that box off. Like, well, I'm done with that. That's true with music. If you have a shitty demo version of a song, don't play it for people. Not only because you don't want to play bad stuff for people, but because you won't want to finish the song. You'll be like, oh, people already heard it. Like, this is already done. And don't. Here's another thing with this too that I've had experience with. I want to say, don't listen to your own stuff until it's done. Like, you obviously have to listen to it to work on it, but only listen to it if you're working on it and actively working on it. Don't let it like loop and listen to it 50 times. You're gonna get sick of it. Like, I do this. If leave a comment, please. If you're gonna leave a comment, I want you to tell me, do you do this? Do you listen to your own stuff over and over when it's not even done, and then you get sick of it and you don't even want to finish it? Why do we do that? It doesn't make any sense. Of course, if you hear a shitty, unfinished song 35 times, you're not gonna want to then finish it. But we do this because you just love it. You know, you love your song even when it's not done, and you want to hear it. But I want to say, don't do that. Work on it. If you're gonna be listening to it, work on it. And then when it's done, you can listen to it until you're sick of it, and then you move on from it. But yeah, try to finish your stuff, guys. That's my big point here. And the final thing, number 7, that kind of goes along with the sharing thing, is voice cracking when you sing. Trusting your ear. Trusting your own set of ears. It's hard to do it. You're scared that every decision you made about your song is wrong and bad and that it sounds like crap. But you have to trust your own ears. You know, you can't try to listen with other people's ears. You can't rely on other people's opinions about what your music should be. You got to trust your own gut, man. And if you're a beginner right now, if you're watching this and you're thinking about getting into making music, I want to say one of the things that it takes a really long time. Well, let me talk about my experience. One of the things it took me a really long time to learn was how to trust my own ears when it comes to mixing, when it comes to production, when it comes to writing. You know, trusting that the words I'm writing are interesting and cool and relatable and not the insane ramblings of a total crazy guy. Yeah, you got to trust your own instincts as an artist. That's really hard to do. But you got to do it. You know, you just have to trust your tastes. And if you feel like you can't trust your tastes, then try to build better tastes. That's what I'm doing this year. I'm trying to listen to a whole bunch of albums so that I can have a better taste for albums, for music, so that I can trust my ear more because I've heard more. And I already feel like this year I've already listened to like 40-some albums, and I feel really good about that. Like, I've learned a lot. Okay. I think that's about all I have to say. I think I feel good. That was kind of a catharsis for me. I hope you've enjoyed it or related to it. I hope this has made you feel some kind of a positive way. Leave a comment. Tell me what you're feeling, how you're thinking, how you're grooving. Yeah, good luck to you in your endeavors. I believe in you. God bless you and me and everybody. And I will talk to you guys again at some point in the future. Bye-bye.